Hi there, folks. Saber4 here. Right here, a couple days before pre-release, this is a Jump to Lightspeed video. I'm going to do a little series of these. This is the first of that series, and what we're going to do is look back at some of the videos we had at the beginning of the spoiler season, and just kind of see how the updates went and how these things look as we're kind of getting ready to build them once the set comes out. So first off, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Helps kind of grow things. Really has been interesting to see it take off, and would love for you to be a part of it. Contents of this one. This is the video of Boba Fett, any methods necessary. We're going to see the first pass, and I'm not going to give you the whole first video, but this is the first pass that I did on January 14th, back when we had a very limited selection of cards here. And then we're going to look at some post-spoiler updates and put him in both command and in cunning. We'll do a little tech discussion and some final thoughts. So everybody's kind of familiar with this at this point, but this is the leader we're going to be talking about. He is Aggression Villainy, Boba Fett, any methods necessary, and his trick here is that when you do non-combat damage, you can exhaust him as a trigger and deal an extra indirect damage. And then when he flips, if he flips as a pilot or deploys as an upgrade, you are able to do a little mini bombardment, 4 damage divided as you choose among any number of units. He's a +4/+4 pilot, which is pretty nice, or he is a 4/7 vanilla on the ground. This is the first look. This was with a pretty limited selection of cards. We had Devastator at that time, we had Planetary Bombardment at that time, and a kind of sparse thing otherwise, because that was January 14. And in this look, you can go back and watch the video if you care to. Some of the choices here were made to maximize Planetary Bombardment, so we tried to squeeze in capital ships, including the Gladiator Star Destroyer, and then the top end of Relentless and Devastator. This is where it sits right now, and a couple of little tech pieces. I did switch to Energy Conversion Lab. I found that I was able to manage games a little bit better with this. Took out the TIE Fighter in favor of the Crackshot D-Wing. As a turn 1 play, when you deal 1 non-combat damage to that, because there's no other unit on the board or no other fighter on the board, you can then trigger Boba's ability, and so he can play off of that during your turn 1. We also got things like Shoot Down and the War Juggernaut and a larger, a little bit better gunship target. In the first pass of this, we used Outlaw Corona because it was the only green ship, it was the only ship of any kind that was a capital ship that we could deploy on curve with Planetary Bombardment. This deck still ramps. This deck still tries to kind of do the tricks early, and it really does want to get to Planetary Bombardment, but it also stretches into Devastator, and so it can be a deck that goes a little bit on the longer side. This is what we refined to, pairing the aggression of Boba Fett with cunning. And why I like this is a couple of reasons. Number one, I got more options in here to do non-combat damage. So things like ISB Agent and any of the different events that are here will be able to pop non-combat damage. If I need to go late, and especially if I need to go on the ground, instead of going with Vader 2 turns later, I can put Bosk on the ground. And then if I play any event, Bosk does non-combat damage. Also, some big things in here. You have the exhaust ability with electromagnetic pulse. You have the ability to, with triple dark raid to have an absolutely massive turn. You can triple dark raid, deal 4 non-combat damage. If Boba Fett isn't on the table, tap him to deal an extra one, and then have a 9-power ship ready, which is just sickening. And you can do that on Boba's deploy turn, so he can really, really come out. And if you want to make a big swing, you can put Boba in that Devastator that you just flipped, have a ship that's going to swing for 13, and bombard again before you manage to to get this all done. So you really have a huge turn coming up if you can triple Dark Raid into Devastator. But that's the refined version of it, and the deck lists for these will be linked in the video. So if you were looking for these and you want to try and play with them yourself, take a look in the descriptions and you will find the links to these. Little tech discussion. What do I think command versus cunning? As I said, command is where I started, and I started there because of the low-cost capital ship. I was able to ramp, I was able to get to planetary bombardment and get there dependably and quickly, and usually with a capital ship on the table. I do like the change and the update for ECL because it allows you to do things like ECL or timely intervention and get you access to an ambush unit. But I also find that I'm doing things like I am ambushing in General Pride if I have if I've got initiative, or I'm ambushing in with my super laser technician to go ahead and do a little bit of damage and ramp, rather than waiting around for one of my big ships to be on the table. On the flip side of this, Cunning has access to ready units via triple Dark Raid, and as I said, it has the most massive flip turn that you can possibly have. You probably would want to go up to a third Devastator in there, but if you manage to triple Dark Raid into that, you're doing non-combat for 4, tapping Boba Fett for a 5th, flipping Boba Fett for 4 more, and then swinging for 13. I don't care if the leader goes away after 1 turn at that point. You're really pumping it out, because that's 22 damage that you're looking at dealing with. Different play, a lot of different closers. I feel like the Cunning version of this has multiple options to ping and exhaust, especially. Early units kind of create some pressure. The big thing that I learned here is to not be too concerned with playing events first turn. Toolbox cards, I'll let you read those yourself. The last little bit here being the Cunning Torpedo Barrage. 3 to deal 6 is a unconditional, because if Boba is not exhausted, pay 3, deal 5, deal 1. Versus the conditional 6 to deal 12, I feel like Cunning just has the better fit. And it's a matter there of, do you want command with access to ramp and Darth Vader to clean things up on the ground, or are you looking for a faster version of this deck? Final thoughts here. That first deck, as I said, was built with planetary bombardment in mind. Outlaw Corona makes that happen. You now have something that doesn't punish you, that can still put you on curve. The second pass, I've now favor Cunning in this. More events, more triggers, more ability to consistently use his ping. Be comfortable, as I said, playing an event as your turn 1 play. The question becomes, does this do better than Django? Django's going to have the ability to do some of these same things and tap down your opponent's units, making it a little bit harder for them to get damage in. But I feel like Boba can be fast enough that it really doesn't matter. Anyway, that's what we have, and that's the updates for this. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are and what you're looking at building. And we'll be back with a few more of these as we update some of the other lists later on. See you next time.